Let's jump into it, man. The game plan. You ready for this?
Y'all ready for this? Let's go.
Listen, there's a ton of information in this article over at Patreon that we put together for you guys and gals. There's also a ton of information that's not in it. So it's just wild that you can put this much detail into this game plan and still have a bunch of stuff like, I've got to cut it off at some point. You know what I mean, Tim? We got to go, okay, that's enough info. But you guys can check it out at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. I appreciate everybody who's supporting what we do here at PTA by being a member over there. Let's jump into it, man. First things first, the injury report. We kind of talked about it a little bit. We get the final game status settings here. So Nate Hobbs officially out. Lucas Van Ness officially out. We got 4 players that are questionable. Matthew Golden with the shoulder. You got Zach Tom with the back injury. You got Dontavion Wicks with the calf and Savion Williams with the foot. I would not be surprised if all 4 of those are active for that game tomorrow night, Tim. You can bet your sweet behind that Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff knows how important this game is against the Eagles.
Absolutely. Zach Tom, really comes to mind right away. I mean, we cannot afford to give up anybody on that O-line right now, especially against this Philadelphia defensive front. I'm with you, man. I think all the questionables, I think they're going to go, or at least try and make a go of it. We'll see them active. I believe it.
Yeah. And then on the Philadelphia Eagles side, Cam Jurgens, their center, is officially declared out. They've got 3 players that are questionable. Jacorian Bennett, cornerback. You've got Willie Lampkin, guard/center. So that's kind of their backup interior offensive lineman, right? He's questionable as well. Nolan Smith, outside linebacker, with the tricep injury. He was full participation all week, but was questionable. All 3 of those questionables were full participation. It looks like all week long for the most part. So I would expect all 3 to play. Cam Jurgens definitely out. That could play a role in this Packers' ability to maybe penetrate there in the A gap against the run, as well as who knows, man, it may affect tush push a little bit too.
Absolutely. I hope we just don't let him in those situations, right? Like Coach talked about earlier in the week, man. Let's keep it 3rd and long for them, 4th and long. Don't even give them that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know one of the big talking points was Jair Alexander obviously being traded to the Eagles. He's going to make his return to Lambeau Field. Well, not so fast, my friends, as Lee Corso would say. Mike Garafolo tweeted out the Eagles decided to hold Alexander back and let him focus on his knee and getting acclimated to the system, similar to what they did when they had Brandon Graham sit for the first game after he re-signed. And he obviously quote tweeted himself that the Eagles have ruled out cornerback Jair Alexander. So it's a knee/coach's decision for tomorrow versus the Packers. He won't travel with the team, so he's not even coming to Green Bay. Some people thought, oh, this is him asking to be traded to the Eagles so he could try to stick it to the Packers. He's not even going to be in Lambeau, man. This is a guy trying to extend his career and put himself in a position to win a ring. Can't hate him for that, Tim.
That's right. They can never make me hate him. We'll see you in the playoffs, Ja. I'm sure we'll meet again, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Moving on with the game plan, we get the dirt bag watch, Tim. Look at this dirt bag right here.
This guy,
look at this week.
Not gonna have
Unbelievable, dude. Well, I mean, have you ever seen somebody who looks like more of an ass than this guy right here, Clay Martin? Who names their kid Clay, by the way? Who does that? Anyway, it's kind of hard to see the screen grab. I want to make sure I got all the information for everybody on Patreon. I know on here you can't see, but essentially what you've got here is our boy Clay Martin right around this range right here. So they're in the top half of the league in terms of, how many flags they throw, how many penalties they call per game. But, Tim, it's close enough to the middle that I feel like it's not going to be a huge factor. Obviously, it's not like our guys there at the top that just like to be seen on camera, right? And listen, you got to give a shout-out to Ron Torbert. Ron Torbert, he's down to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. Hey, he's out of the power of the top 3, Tim. Like maybe Ron's finally getting tired of – maybe he's getting a little what do they call it? Tendonitis in the elbow throwing them flags. You gotta come in for a nice easy landing the rest of the year.
Yeah, maybe he's just not looking for the limelight as much, right?
Could be.
He doesn't want the cameras on him, but yeah, I mean, seeing Clay here, it looks like kind of in the middle. Hopefully, we get one of those games where I don't know, just let the guys play, but also there's certain things you have to call in this league, right? Let's just hope they're not overly involved in the outcome of this game.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move it along. I added something a little different this time, Tim. Crucial situation, kind of this situational aspect of the game. Offensive red zone scoring. This number really stood out to me. Okay, touchdowns only. Philadelphia Eagles lead the entire National Football League in red zone scoring. They're scoring touchdowns 85% of the time when they get inside the 20. Okay. Now, the last game, they were at 100%. The last 3 games are actually at 71.4%. So they started to cool off, and then we're on a heater last week. So, again, take that for what you will. Now, I will say this at home, 90.9% success rate in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. On the road, only 77%. That's significantly lower than their 85%, although that number would still be good enough to put them in second place with the Washington Commanders. We got to figure out a way, either keep them out of the red zone or stop them once they do get into the red zone, Tim. It's going to be huge, man.
It is, and it's going to be an uphill battle and a tough task. So I hope Coach Half has some different looks down there in the red zone, right? Because it's going to happen at a certain point. And I just think we're going to get torched with too much man coverage down there.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll notice Green Bay is 11th in red zone percentage, okay? And again, that's touchdowns only. I like to remove the noise of the field goal because obviously you get inside the 20 field goal. It's not like you did anything special once you got in the 20 to get a field goal, right? It's all about scoring touchdowns. So, again, Green Bay is 11th. Now, what's really bothersome, I should say, is the fact that Philly is first in the league in red zone scoring for touchdowns. And look where the Packers are at, guys, in defense. They're 23rd at 63.6%. Okay, so that really screams. It doesn't mean they can't stop the Eagles in the red zone, right? But what it does mean is this coaching staff probably put some extra emphasis on red zone opportunities, situational practice moments there to try to help slow down their red zone efficiency in scoring, but also improve our ability or lack thereof of stopping other teams from scoring touchdowns when they do get red zone. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. But anything else you want to hit on the red zone or anything that we've hit so far, Tim, before we dive into the offensive game plan, man?
No, let's do it. Let's break down the offense.
All right, let's do it, man. Let's jump in. Offensive game plan. Number 1, establish the run, okay? You know, last week, I think it was in Pittsburgh, we said throw to set up the pass, right? Jordan Love goes out there, has a hell of a game throwing the football. Last week, we were talking about, hey, establish the run. You establish the run, but you got away from it a little bit in key situations. First down interception, that's a no-go, right? 3rd and short, throwing the football when you probably should have been running because of what you were averaging, right? So establish the run. Philly has struggled to stop the run this year, ranking 19th in yards per rush allowed. Just like against Carolina last week, the Packers should lean into the run game early, but this time take every field goal Philly gives you. Please hear me, Matt LaFleur. Take every field goal Philly gives you. Don't go for it on 4th down. It could come back and bite you in the ass in the 4th quarter. You look up and go, well, crap. We lost by a field goal, right? Yep. So the game plan was working last week until we became careless with the football. Obviously, Savion's fumble and Matt LaFleur going for it on 4th down rather than rack up every scoring opportunity possible. So, again, Savion's fumble, listen, those type of things are going to happen. It's a rookie mistake. Got to get that ball in the outside arm and also take that bubble screen outside the way you're supposed to. Don't cut it back in where you got a -4 hat count, right? Or a +4, a +4, if you want to say it that way. So with that being said, that fumble on the Packers' very first drive where they were going right down the field on Carolina really flipped the momentum, and then going for it on that 4th down when you should have had a chip shot field goal. Both of those things together, Tim, that's how you lose to a team that you probably should have beat, man.
Yeah, and you're definitely going to lose to a team like the Eagles if you take that same approach, right?
Yeah, definitely. And again, when you look at the yards per rushing attempt allowed, you see the Philadelphia Eagles at 4.4 yards per rush allowed. They're tied for 19th in the league with Washington and Atlanta as well. Okay. And you'll notice Green Bay, after that great rushing performance by the Carolina Panthers, which last week, that was our defensive game plan. You got to stop the run, make them beat you with the pass because they've got a solid running game. Obviously, we didn't do a good enough job of that. We showed 3 different running plays on Chalk Talk where honestly, it wasn't scheme. It was just bad play. It was guys missing their run fit, guys getting a little too aggressive. Maybe one play, I would say scheme, where they walked Evan Williams out in man coverage. It was a man coverage call. It bites you in the ass. Tim, how many times did we talk about that today in that Bears game? Like, that's another reason why the Giants lost to the Bears. Playing man coverage, flipping their back to Caleb Williams and just letting him scramble and steal that game from them today.
Yeah, and then when he wasn't scrambling, he was hammering those underneath digs and, curl routes, and You know, it is. It's a recipe for disaster when you get caught. Like, I don't mind those man looks, you know, peppered in once in a while. But if you start leaning on it and you know, your opponent can pick up on that, they're just going to attack that all day long. And yeah, we did. We saw that in Chicago today for sure.
As soon as you see the defender, as soon as you see them flip, when they flip their hips and you see their numbers, you can buzz it by their ear hole like Aaron Rodgers, or you can do what Caleb Williams did, tuck that thing and run. Listen, you've got to tip your cap. As bad as it bothers me to say this, got to tip your cap to Caleb Williams for taking what the defense gave him in those situations. He's been clocked at over 20 miles an hour running the ball this year. I think a couple of different times. I know there was one earlier in the year he was clocked at over 20 mile an hour, so he could tuck that thing and run. I don't understand why any defense would want to turn their back to him. I really don't, man. Just make him beat you as a passer. Right? That's the recipe for success. But then again, the Giants, we knew coming into this game, Tim, their running defense was horrible. Well, the number looks really inflated, obviously, with Caleb Williams being able to run with the football. Hopefully Green Bay can get their act together. Last week, struggled against the run, but they're still not in the league. And here's the reality too, guys. That 4.0 yards per rush allowed by Green Bay, I mean, the LA Rams are above them, along with Tampa Bay at 3.9. Like, you're this close, right, to being seventh best, tied for seventh best, right?
Yep.
And then 3.8 stretches all the way up to fifth. So, again, you want to know why Seattle's so good, too? Their run defense is solid, man. They got that run defense humming out there, only 3.5 yards per rush attempt. So, again, just wanted to highlight, I feel like establishing the run should be the first and foremost thing. And also, you can control the clock that way, too, right? You can control the possession, keep their defense on the field, wear them down. Rather than taking these first down shot plays and things, where you end up putting your defense right back on the field. God forbid you throw an interception on first down, right? And again, Jordan Love, like we said, Tim, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's protecting the football well. It's just you find these situations where it's a first down and he's not checking it down and chucking it over the top. It's like his 3 interceptions this year looked really, really bad. But we've also got to acknowledge it's only been 3 throws that he's made bad decisions, essentially, you know?
Yeah. And to your point about the first down, you know, running the ball on first downs, I think, you know, we've seen that a handful of times this year early in ball games, and you do get a rhythm. You do, you know, establish a good drive, especially your opening drive. You know, whether you put points on the board or not, you want a long, sustained, good drive, show that you can move the ball as you're gathering that intel. But I do feel like sometimes it's that series, and then here we go. We're throwing it on first down every first down we get, it seems like. I'm with you, man. Establish some sort of a run game and then take your shots where you can, right?
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to number 2, the passing game. All right. Coach LaFleur should trust the medium to deep passing game, with Philly struggling to sack opposing quarterbacks. Again, they're very low. They currently rank 25th with a 5.6% sack rate per game. Okay. So what does that mean? They're not hitting home on their pass rush. So don't feel like you have to attack with the short game. Some people are going, is Clayton saying that they shouldn't throw screen passes? They shouldn't throw underneath? You guys know I call for it all the time, man. I'm a big fan of RPO action play. But this is one of those games that if you do come out in the first quarter and their pass rush is kind of non-existent, Tim, like it kind of has been here lately, then set up for those deep drops. And hammer those digs, hammer those slot cross concepts. Maybe throw a little drive concept in there as well. Don't be afraid to attack mid to deep on the outside as well. You know, they're going to play a lot of match coverage, I would imagine. That's something that Vic Fangio is kind of known for. So don't be afraid to walk those guys out on an island and let that play develop underneath there, like I said, the 15 to 30-yard mark, right? And with Christian Watson looking better than ever, there's no better time to do that. This, coupled with the Eagles' struggling run defense, screams play action pass. However, you have to protect the football because Philly has given the ball away a league best 0.4 giveaways per game. Complementary football is the path to beating the Eagles. You got to protect the football because, Tim, they damn sure are not going to give the ball away very often, man.
Yep, and play action isn't going to work at all if you don't establish a run game, right? They got to believe you're going to run that football in order for those action boots to work, really.
Yeah. And if they're truly trying to play the Fangio type defense, and again, guys, that can be adjusted on the fly. I haven't watched a whole lot of their tape. They may be just completely scrapped the quarters coverage. I have a hard time believing it's seen as Fangio. But when they have to have the safeties on the shelf and still meet their run fit, that's probably why they're struggling to stop the run a little bit. You guys remember when Joe Barry was here running the Fangio style defense, right? What was one of our weak spots? run defense
Yep.
because you had those guys on the shelf, right? If they come out and approach it that way, then just stick with the run and don't get too crazy with the check with me's at the line, you know. Caterpillar with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says last night I watched 88's highlights from before he got hurt and Tuck took over. I forgot how good he is. He just has a different skill set and doesn't block as well. Maximum seam routes, please. This kind of plays into what we're talking about, Tim. Another way that you could attack. Imagine 11 dub set, whether you go nasty or not, and you walk that mid defender down the seam with Musgrave, right? If they play underneath technique, don't be afraid to give Musgrave a shot. But as they're walking that defender out, I can see Romeo, Golden, some of these guys on these dig routes, right? Or even a little spot concept underneath, a little spacing aspect. Walk that guy out. If they go with Musgrave, keep it underneath. If they play with underneath technique, don't be afraid to give 88 a couple plays. And Tim, this is how I feel about Musgrave. I was critical of Musgrave because it's like his score, his grade's always low, right? You don't see him making huge impact plays, but we know the majority of the time we're in 11 personnel, and that was Tucker Kraft. Before Tucker Kraft emerged onto the scene because Musgrave got hurt, Musgrave had like over 400 yards receiving that year. You guys remember the Dallas game where he ran that cross-country play, right? Yep. And just butt-naked wheel route, took it in for 6, right? So I agree with what Caterpillar says here. Listen, Musgrave is not a yak guy. He's not going to run through people's faces, but he'll catch the football, and he can do everything that Tucker Kraft was doing getting open. Because, again, most of Tucker Kraft's catches, he was schemed open.
Yeah, and Musgrave will be the same thing, right? And we probably will see a heavy dose of 11 personnel at times, and I hope we take advantage of it. I love him as a pass-catching tight end. I think some of the other things about his game that we'd like to see improvement on, I think they will improve with more reps and more time. I mean, he is that dude for the foreseeable future of this season until we get Tuck back next year. So it's going to be fun to watch 88 out there for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Thank you for the super chat, Caterpillar. Appreciate you. Reggie with the super chat says, who do you think will have a better game, Christian Watson or Romeo Doubs against this Eagles defense? That's tough, man. It's tough because, again, we don't know exactly how they're going to play, right? Now, think of it this way. Tucker Kraft was the check down guy and the yak guy, right? Well, if he's gone, okay, and now you're playing to Musgrave's strengths, what does that mean for the other two? If they play quarters coverage or palms, right? Listen, there's 2 ways you can look at that. In a palms look, if Watson goes deep as the 1 or the 2, it basically turns into 0 coverage. So you like your chances with Watson, but also everything we're talking about, attack middle to deep, that kind of screams Romeo Doubs. Think to the playoff game last year, guys. If I remember correctly, Romeo Doubs had a solid game, right? He had a solid game against the Eagles in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure he was our leading receiver, if I remember correctly. So make a mental note of that, Reggie, right? But then also take into consideration, Jaden Reed, I feel like was a big factor in the week 1 matchup last year in Brazil, if I remember correctly. He went absolutely off in that game. Well, he's the F receiver. So when you take those 2 things into consideration, Christian Watson wasn't playing in the playoff game, right? But he was playing in the week 1 game, if I remember correctly. Those 2 players, I think I'm leaning toward Doubs, Tim. But again, Christian, dude, he's 2 games in, but he's better this year than he was last year. So I don't know how you feel about that.
And Scoot always plays really good against Philly. I mean, every time we've matched up and he's been in the lineup, he's always had himself a day. But I'm with you. I'd probably go with Rome here. I mean, it's kind of a vague statement, right? Better game, like what I hope each of them get a tutter and crack 100 yards, but I do see Scoot being the guy that we're going to stretch the field with, and Rome being the guy that, maybe he's our yak guy now underneath, in some of these looks. If Philly wants to do, mirror match or match, that's an opportunity for Rome to get open and turn up field and get some extra yards. Like you said, you've got Scoot dragging, safety help out of the area and things like that. So I would go with Rome on this one.
Got it. Good stuff. Appreciate the super chat, Reggie. Hopefully that answered your question, man. Again, we're not professionals here. You can hear it in my voice. You hear the accent. So do your own research in that. But it's a tough one. Watson's on a heater right now, but Doubs has historically had a little bit better success against the type of defense that Philly runs. But thank you for that, Superman. Appreciate you. And then just wanted to point out their best players on defense, Tim. Remember Jahad Campbell? We were talking about him coming out in the draft. We love Jahad Campbell, boys. He's a hell of a stack backer, man. 83.3 coverage grade. Okay, so when we're talking about potentially attacking through the air, again, run to set up the pass. Want to stay away from Jahad Campbell. Where's that at, guys? That's right in the middle of that defense, right? So he's playing good coverage in the middle of the field. So this might scream too, maybe a little Haas concept, Tim, on the outside. What do I mean by Haas? A go with a curl, or maybe even a wrap concept. A curl with a dig on the backside, and you hit that kind of that quarter seam outside of Jahad Campbell's spot. Now, also, you got to look for Cooper DeJean, who's grading out an 80. He's going to play the slot. So Cooper DeJean playing good ball. Most of the time, your slot is going to be opposite of the Z. So back to Reggie's question, who's going to be our Z? Predominantly Christian Watson. So if our game plan is stay away from Jahad Campbell, stay away from Cooper DeJean, if that's the game plan, probably going to get some shot plays in the field side Z, which will be Christian Watson. Take that into consideration as well, Reggie. That just kind of came to mind here. They've also got Zach Bond at stack backer, Tim. So they're loaded at linebacker, 75.1 coverage grade for Zach Bond.
Yeah, we got to give them some eye candy, right? We got to give those guys something to deal with. I do feel good about, as good as Cooper DeJean is playing. I feel good about Scoot in that matchup in those situations. Yeah. I really do. Might be a chance to really attack there when we get those opportunities. But yeah, Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond at linebacker, man, it's going to be tough to run and throw against guys like that. So again, scheming guys open, or, like we said at the top, right, establish that run game, keep them busy, and then take your shots when you can.
Yeah, something else to take into consideration, as we've shown on Chalk Talk the last few weeks, Reggie, we've seen a little bit of Romeo Doubs in the F. They're mixing and matching. They're putting Golden at the X and Romeo in the F. So just keep that in mind too. So I don't know if Golden's an option there, but again, it's such a hard thing to predict. It really is, man. And we'll kind of hit some of the over-unders on the pregame show maybe tomorrow. Usually if Jacob's in here for this show, we just randomly ask him, right, all right, what's the over-under on this player, that player, kind of see how Vegas sends it. But yeah, you're welcome, Reggie. Appreciate you, buddy. So yeah, Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell having a decent year, 68.3. Nothing like Cooper DeJean in the slot. Obviously, he'll kick outside when they go to their base. So I don't know, Tim. With Tucker being out, I kind of feel like it's going to be 11 personnel heavy. But Matt LaFleur, man, he don't like to kind of retract from his scheme. If he thinks the advantage is 12 here, he may stick with 12 too. But I kind of like our chances with 11. Surprise, surprise. That's what I always say, right?
Yeah. Well, especially now considering we don't have Tuck Norris, and it's not a knock on Fitzpatrick. I feel like his game's going to improve too, because he's obviously going to get more reps now. Next man up mentality. But I'm with you. I mean, you keep those 12 personnel looks baked into your game plan. Obviously they're there, but I hope Matt leans on 11, and I really hope that as Holmes is bringing this one up here, I hope that tomorrow we get some good news and we find out that Matthew Golden is going to play in this game, because that would be an absolute bonus if we're talking about getting Scoot going and getting Rome going. Having a guy like Matthew Golden and Tay Wicks out there is going to help us be as close to full strength as we can be right now with a banged up receiver core.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for reminding us of that, Holmes. There's a chance that Golden does not go tomorrow. I think he's going to be out there, although if he isn't 100%, Tim, and they feel good about Wicks, I could also see him just going, you know what, let's sit Golden, let's roll with Wicks. And I don't think there's a huge difference there in terms of what their production could be potentially, of those two guys. So maybe stay away from Golden, like Holmes is saying, because of the shoulder. Might be a problem. So Tuesday players on defense, Tim. We talked about it. Jahad Campbell, for reasons we've already kind of mentioned, his PFF grade 83.1. He's been steady, Eddie, man, all year long. 88, 71, 76, 68, 75, 68, 67, 72. We nailed that in the draft. I was going to try to see what I had him graded at here real quick.
I know he was in our top 10 of backers for sure.
He was our number one linebacker. We had him in the red, injury issues, right? Guys, remember this. How many times, Tim, have we liked that player, but he was injured, right? And now you're seeing the injury was fine. They checked out. If you trust the doctors, Jahad Campbell's our top linebacker, no doubt.
Yep. Very true.
All right, moving along. Next one, Zach Baum. We kind of talked about it. 80.0 is his PFF grade. Kind of a weird career trajectory, man. 65, 44, 50, 71, 90, 80. But he's stabilized the last 3 years playing really good football. I'd be careful with those stack backers. That's the strength of that defense. Cooper DeJean in the slot. Obviously, he was a second-round pick, 40th selection. On the season, 71, 69, 62, 80, 64, 67, 68, 70 for a grade of 77.7. And last year, 86.3 PFF grade. This year, settling in at 77.7. Got to be aware of where that little Caucasian is at all times, Tim. He'll steal the ball from you. Ain't careful, man. Plays the game the right way, too. Really does.
He is, and he's on pace to keep up with or exceed what he did last year as a rookie. So, yeah, you got to account for the great white hope, Cooper DeJean, right?
That's right, man. It's just we waited for so long to have another white corner that wasn't named Jason Sehorn, right? Remember Jason Sehorn back in the day?
You have to go back for that one.
All the brothers in the league, too, always made jokes about it. Like, I remember Michael Irvin talking about him going up against him, right? This is Michael Irvin's word. It's not mine, okay? But he went up against him. This is right before Michael Irvin's career ended. And he said, I remember lining up from, I'm a torch this white boy is what he said, right? He said, off the line, Jason Sehorn jumped up and jammed, and he went, this is a strong white boy. Absolutely hilarious take there from Michael Irvin. So, again, Cooper DeJean, another player, right? And there's a couple other players I'll mention on the backside of this that you probably thinking, where's Jalen Carter? Having a down year. He's actually the last 2 years, he's declined according to PFF. Got ejected earlier in the year. Just seems like his mind is kind of he came out his rookie year and was on fire. Again, we'll talk about that on the backside. But if you're watching this video back later, let us know what you think about the offensive game plan. What would you change? Okay, let us know in the comments. Is there something we missed there? Maybe you think this would be a pass-heavy scheme or attack as opposed to running the football first and foremost. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live. Like tomorrow, 1 hour before kickoff, hour 20 before kickoff, me and Tim will be going, well, you won't be. You'll be in the stadium. Me and Jacob and the boys will be going live for the PTA pregame show. Tim will be boots on the ground out there trying not to fist fight Eagle fans. So don't get kicked out of Lambeau, Tim.
I won't. I've done pretty good these past couple of years.